This season was, I mean, it was so wild, partly because of Snatch Game. That was one of the best Snatch Games between you and Baga. It was just so good. But also, the eliminations were just so wild this season. Between Pangina sending Jimbo home and then you sending Pangina home, it had people talking. And you said that Pangina was your inspiration and also your biggest competition. You told her you didn't think that you would be able to pick her, but you couldn't say it wasn't tempting, which wasn't a promise that you weren't going to send her home. So, how quickly did you come to that decision to send her home? Was your mind made up before you went into that conversation with her, or did something happen in or after that conversation that made you pick her?
The thing is about the whole situation was that I knew that I just felt that Pangina was not playing the game as fairly as possible, as a judge may should have been playing the game, you know. So I kind of, as soon as I knew that everyone else was in the bottom, I had her name pretty high up on the list. I'm not gonna lie. One thing about me though that I think is the big difference between the first season that I've been on and this one is that I wouldn't make those kind of choices. I wouldn't make those kind of risks, and I would always be thinking about someone else's feelings. And I was worried that Pangina would be feel like she was letting everyone down, and that I would get backlash for it. I was almost worried about everything else but myself in that situation when I was talking to her. But whenever I got up to that box to pick the lipstick, I felt like I would regret the decision, and I owe it to myself to think for me about me for once in my life. And I thought, this is a great way to not be overlooked by the judges anymore. I know I just won that week, but I felt like throughout the competition I've been in really, really well, and deserved to be in the top more often. But there was always just someone that had their eye a little bit more. So I was ready to make the focus myself. And look, it worked out. So no regrets.
No, no, yeah, it was clearly the right decision for you in that moment. And you did look very gooped when you heard her sort of weeping backstage after the elimination. And you suggested in the next episode that you regretted it in that specific moment. So, did you try to maybe change it in the moment when you saw that reaction? And do you still regret it, or do you sit comfortably in that you made the right choice?
Yeah, I made the right decision. I don't regret it in the slightest. I think my reaction was her based on her reaction, basically. Normally on All Stars, they go, "Well, Rue, it's been great. Sure, maybe I'll do Jujubee and I'll see you the next time," you know. But I think she just had so much weight on her shoulders. She was a judge. She was representing for Thailand, and her culture is very much that when it's a big honor to represent for your country. So I can imagine in that moment how heartbreaking that would be. And I was heartbroken for her because it wasn't a malicious decision. It was a strategic decision, and I loved her, and it was sad to see someone that I loved be so upset. So that was where the little chin wiggle came from, but no regrets. I absolutely would do it again tomorrow if I had to.
And you are both fine now. The relationship is fine between you.
Oh, absolutely. We send texts all the time. We've sent nudes. I do think that one week where it had just aired, I did feel like the outside forces were almost caving in on us a little bit, and it wasn't that there was any animosity, or it was more like awkwardness, because it was like there's so much hate being thrown around both ways. Like it just didn't feel like the same relationship that we'd had before, but we've talked since. It's fabulous, and you know what, like I can't wait to give her the biggest hug or blowjob, whatever she wants.